tape rule right now.
Any matters. Well, as you know, this is the holiday season, and we celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, and possibly a few other holidays. And as you know, everyone seems to be busy. A lot of people say that it's more of a festive mood, and a lot of times it's time for great reunions with our families, great rejoicing, and many gifts, and many dinners, and many parties. And so we celebrate the season. And we should celebrate these joyful and miraculous occasions. We should have fun. But it's also a time for reflection. It's also a time to ask, why is the season special? What does it really mean? Do we look forward to Christmas, if that's the holiday we celebrate, or Kwanzaa, or Hanukkah, because of the gifts, because of the food, or is it the family? But in any case, why is this time so important to us? And you might say, Al, you know, it's Christmas, it's Kwanzaa, it's Hanukkah. I don't want to think right now, I just want to have fun. I want you to have fun. But I also always make it a point to bring the humanity into Humanity Matters. So I want you to think about this for a minute. And this is for my guests, my panel, or everyone that ever hears this. I want you to reflect for a minute. Is Christmas, Kwanzaa, and Hanukkah and its importance limited in your life? Do you limit the meaning? Do you only get gifts for those you know? Do you only spend time with the people you know? Do you only think about your immediate family, co-workers, schoolmates? And if that's the case, all of us, including myself, need to do better. You see, this really should be the season of giving. And I'm not talking about materialistic giving. I'm speaking about giving of yourself. So here's the challenge, my friends, that I'm bringing to you. Let us say that you love an entity. I am a secular type of show. But say you love Jesus, you know, or whom you believe is God, or whatever your religion is. And pretty much, at least 3 of the religions have similarities. So the question now has to be placed upon you is, during the rest of the year, or even during the season, do you truly assume what the season means? And we're back. You might wonder, okay, you heard the 2 messages, and I kind of left you in suspense there. I didn't really get to the question. And there's a reason for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be using these messages throughout probably at least the next 2 to 3 episodes. So even though you may feel like, well, I want to know what he was getting to. And by the time you see the next part of the message, the holidays officially will be over, except for we will just be having celebrated New Year's. So Annette said to me at home, she said, well, if the holiday's gone, doesn't it make it outdated? Doesn't it make it obsolete? I said, no, because you haven't heard the entire message. When you hear the entire series of the message, you'll understand that what I'm saying to you is something that we can use in our life every day of the year
And not only every day of the year, but for the rest of our lives. It's more of a lifestyle change or changing the way we think. So even though I didn't get to the question, because I have questions that I have to ask and want to ask Chuck, and also Chris is on the phone. So I didn't get to the question. So the next time we're here in January, we will be showing those clips. Now I will give you a little heads up. If you decide to start going to my YouTube page or Humanity Matters, I'm probably going to have the entire clip, which is about 16 minutes. There's a lot of ideas in there. I'm probably going to have that on. So you could actually see it before it's on live television. But the bottom line is, it is not going to be outdated, because helping each other and helping ourselves and enhancing our lives and our gratification and ability to improve our own lives, that is never going to be obsolete and outdated. With that, I'm going to go ahead and ask Chuck Page a question, and then at that point, I'm going to ask one of our co-hosts, and they can decide which of the two of them want to do it, to answer Chris's call. Now, I did want Chris to call later, but we're good with that. Let me just ask Chuck a question. I'm going to slightly turn to the right. Not that you needed to know that out there. I mean, you didn't really need to know that, but I just want to make sure that, I can see Chuck, because it's hard to see him over here sometimes. Chuck, you said that your business is essentially what you actually have it open, about 5, 6 months? What is usually the amount of time?
Usually 8 months.
Okay, so 8 months. So even though you have it physically open for 8 months, you actually work the business the entire year, just as a normal business would. And you said you had to figure in taxes. So let me ask you this. If someone were trying to start a business and they didn't have the income to go to college and what have you, and they have to deal with the taxes if they're self-employed, what would you recommend? And if, let's say you were a mentor, starting someone in either ice cream or whatever business, what is the one thing you would say? Where would the place to learn about figuring your taxes would be, other than doing it the easy way, which would be to hire an accountant? But if you don't have the funding to do that, you have to do everything yourself, and I'm sure you've done that in your life. Yeah. So could you give us advice to potential entrepreneurs out there?
Okay. I just want to make one comment. Kathy did excellent on our comeback. And I think
thank you, I agree.
When you, I had an accounting degree from college.
Okay.
When you deal with the IRS, it's better to have an accountant, because the penalties and everything's very high, and lots of things are very confusing. So that's just one part of the business. You'd have to have an accountant to make sure that your records were accurate. And the best, if I would start in a business, and I would find another business going out similar, and then you buy all their equipment for a lower price, because restaurant equipment is very high, because it's the market is limited for the consumers of the restaurant equipment. So the equipment, it costs a lot more than most refrigerators and stuff. So it's just, you really need a mentor or someone that knows what they're doing when you start a business, because you can lose your shirt by not knowing what you're doing. You just be throwing your money away.
So you said that they would definitely need to hire an accountant. Let me ask you, and I know we are not hiring or advertising anyone. Let me ask you, what in general, having an accountant on call or however you do it, how expensive is it? And is that something also that you can put in your business plan, that would, if you have investors, you might be able to have that covered? Or can you tell us a little bit about that end of it? What can you do so that you can ensure you have the actual monies needed for the accounting and I guess bookkeeping.
Well,
How's
usually,
that work essentially?
I think you approach an accountant and they'll tell you their fees, and it's pretty accurate. I think it's for my taxes, it's like $2,000 to have the taxes filed and stuff a
Okay.
year.
Now, $2,000 sounds like a lot, but in terms of the business world, is that a discounted rate? Is that high? Where would you level that as? At low, medium, or high price?
I think it's medium. I think it's fair.
Okay.
But if you could lower the cost by having your own computer system,
Right.
and you enter all your bills in, and then they're just reviewing it to look for
Okay.
discrepancies that might not be good for your business.
Well, now you say they're just reviewing it if you own your own. All right, well, I'll tell you what, I appreciate that. Why don't we go ahead and have one of the ladies get Chris's call?
I'll get it.
And then what we'll do is have Chris speak at that point. And we're opening the calls now for other callers as well.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
All right. And you?
I'm calling from Squirrel Hill Commons. This is a nursing home. It's a place here is treating me very well, and the staff here are great, so I just want to point that out. And I'll probably be here until at least May. But anyway, what I wanted to ask Chuck is several questions. Is Al and a person by the name of LT, I don't want to mention her name, along with myself, we got training from SCORE, and LT's been involved with this group called People with Disabilities Own Their Own Businesses for Profit with a Nonprofit Entity. So therefore, we got training from SCORE, L and LT, along with myself and other people, got training from SCORE to start their own businesses, and we also have a vision statement and a mission statement, and we're trying to get grants from different nonprofits, because what we wanted to do was have it for profit with a nonprofit entity to hire people with disabilities, across disabilities, to work at this business, and then also have own their own businesses in the future, and they would also be trained by SCORE, which is Service Corps for Retiree Executives. And we try to get grants from Department of Human Services, again, with other agencies. And then what Department of Human Services did was they gave this one agency money, which is about $250,000, to stop them from helping us. And then, so we were at a loophole ever since. And it's been like that for about 8 years now.
So,
I just wanted to know is what could you do, be able to help this group with people with disabilities, with cross disabilities, own their own businesses for profit with a nonprofit entity, to get businesses started, and how we can go about getting grants, and also how we can partner with other businesses.
he wants to know essentially, because it's a little hard to hear you, Chris, because of your voice, and also, sometimes it's just hard. What he's saying, Chuck, is he wanted to know if you know of any agencies that would be able to help people with disabilities and family members to essentially start up their own businesses. And myself and Chris and another young lady named LT had been involved with this agency, and we had started a committee, which was, I believe, the Entrepreneur Committee. And what he's wondering is if you know of any ways for people with disabilities to possibly get seed money and the necessary training, they could start a business, or if you would know of any place to go to, or if that'd be something you'd be interested in and maybe helping with, maybe starting a program or something like that. So that was what his question was.
Yeah, I don't know any organization that starts as seed money or anything like that. But I am when people start ice cream businesses, and they ask me questions, I usually invite them in and show them around my business.
Well, that's good.
So
And you mentioned some organization. You said was it the National Ice Cream
Retailers Association.
Okay, Annette, you have a pen, do you not? Please put that here.
No,
Here's a
my
pen.
purse is
Hate to do that on live television, but I need to have that written down. I'm going to contact them at some point. Now, tell us about, well, first of all, Chris, do you have any follow-up questions?
Yeah, I do have some follow-up questions. I just wanted to see what Chuck had to say with others, with the questions I've written, what I've mentioned. I have some other questions also.
Well, he said that he helps people when they're going to start up an ice cream business. He'll let them come in and he'll tell them the ins and outs of it. But as far as mentoring, he's not able to do that at this time. But he does help, so that's a great thing. We appreciate that.
Right.
So why don't you go into your next question so we can get the other callers?
Well, one thing is I just want to do a follow-up with why I'm not there, if it's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I am not there because I had emergency surgery done a week before Thanksgiving. After the surgery, I was in ICU at Shadyside. The Shadyside was also a great hospital that did a lot for me. And then I was in the regular room for about 2 weeks, and I'm here at the Screw Hill Commons nursing home. And I'm going to be here with approximately till at least May. So this way people, the Humane Matters family knows what's going on, so this way we don't hide anything, and that way you think I'm not abandoning them.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's not my intentions. I'm here for rehab. I had, as you remember, different shows where you'd hear my stomach making weird noises. Why? I had 3 hernias, and one was real big, and the other 2 were smaller than the other 2. The other 2 were smaller than the big one. And what happened was my hernias was wrapped around my intestines, and it was pulling it. And then what ended up happening was I was having internal bleeding. So they took the hernias out, and they took out my intestines, and then when they took it out, they untied it because it was in a big knot. And then they straightened it out, and then they stapled it. So right now I just on soft liquids for now because I can't handle solid foods at this time, and it's been like that since the surgery. I can't handle solid foods. But I'm also getting rehab while I'm here. And again, the staff here are very great, and if anybody is going to be going to a skilled nursing facility in the future, I highly recommend Screw Hill Commons because, again, they're a great place, and they treat people like family.
All right, well, that's good, Chris.
Well,
Now,
we miss you.
let me ask you a question, Chris. How many days or weeks has it been since you've had solid food?
Since November 17th.
Wow, that's a long time, everybody. That means no Thanksgiving dinner or anything.
Right, and I'll be here for Christmas, and I'll be here for New Year's.
Wow. Well, don't worry, your voice will still be here, so keep your voice working. But Chris, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next callers. And of course, we want to have Chuck do a little bit of temporary co-hosting, so he's going to hopefully get the next call. You know how we put people to work here. So are you good for tonight?
I'm good until 7:05.
Well, it's 7:05. I'm not going to say no. I was going to say something funny, but I'm not. Never mind. So we'll talk to you soon, young man. God bless you.
So do you need me to stay on, or?
I don't know. You can ask Yuri if that's possible, because we do need to go to the next call. Okay, so Chuck, you're up.
Next caller, please.
Okay, this is Diane.
Oh, here we go.
Now, Chuck, I know you don't have your ice cream business now. I'm not saying where it is. So how come you don't expand like Dairy Queen or other places like Isley's, and then my brother would be happy and have ice cream? Like in
I know she didn't go
a
there.
lot. So why can't you expand and get a bigger place, and then we can all sit down and enjoy to eat ice cream? I love your place, but I don't like to be outside when it's too hot to eat ice cream.
Oh,
But you should try to see if you can make it bigger, make it like Dairy Queen, or maybe Stout. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And have a nice holiday.
Thank you.
But maybe you. And I have a question for my brother in a minute.
Okay. I think my location space is really limited, and I don't want to take any more parking spaces up by increased building space. And I think it's, when I open up in the spring, everybody's really happy. And I like that excitement about the business, because in the spring, when the other ice cream stores are open all year round, it's, so what? But when I open up everybody's really happy.
I agree
why
with
I
that.
agree.
Don't
like-
change it, don't change it. I'm voting to not change it.
Here's a question for you.
A question for me? All right, I would be the
Well,
host.
you said everybody can see you all over the world and all that.
Yes.
Do you have Twitter and Facebook? Can they get you on Facebook and Twitter too?
Yes, they may. They can get me. Twitter and Facebook is a little bit different. I do have a presence there. Believe me, I have a presence there.
Well,
But
why
when
don't
you,
help me with Facebook.
let me explain something since you asked. When you do the Twitter and the Facebook, with Facebook, sometimes you're able to put your video up and it works fine. Other times you will put the video up or you embed it and it won't work, but the link will work. So sometimes with Facebook, it's kind of a do or don't. It's best if you would, like for viewers who want to see Humanity Matters, the best thing to do is to either go to YouTube or humanitymatters.org. Because if you go to Twitter and if you go to Facebook, you may see the clips, you may not. Now, on the other hand, I am constantly updating